Hi guys. I feel like it's been so long. Some of my friends mentioned that they actually watch my videos and I feel like it'd be cute if we just like sat down and talked. It's midterm season. I think midterm's been tough for everybody, but especially for me because I'm taking a lot of courses right now. I'm taking 5 classes and 3 labs. Honestly, I feel like the workload is very manageable, but the thing is that I procrastinate a lot and I get this feeling that I could do it later, and I just keep saying like I'm gonna do it later, and then all of it builds up, and then it might be like 2 assignments due back to back, and that just overwhelms me when I have to work like the whole day on one assignment and then sleep for like 5 hours and then wake up and do my next assignment. It's literally my fault because we would be given 2 weeks to do it, and I would kind of just look over it and not do it until it's due because I don't have stress to motivate me to do it. But that aside, maybe I should talk about what books I've been reading. Recently, I finished reading Happy Hour, and it's actually really, really good. I feel really awkward talking about contemporary books because honestly, nothing happens. It's just vibes, and I read it on the transit, and it's like reading someone else's coming of age story. When I'm also at the age of like coming of age, but like obviously my life is not as exciting. I'm living vicariously. Vicariously. And also recently, my social media has been showing me so many cinematic short films, and I love it. It like very much feeds into the whole coming of age feeling. I think because I'm kind of going through this whole crisis of what am I gonna do with my future, seeing these like slowed down, very comfy videos makes me feel better about myself because I'm like, okay, I'm stressed because I'm thinking too much about what's going to happen in the future. But I could just be running through the grass and it'd be fine. I don't know. It just makes me feel like everything's fine. I could just go somewhere else where no one knows me, there's no expectations, and just like lay on a field. What should I talk about today? Should I talk about female friendships? I feel like that's what I've been wanting to talk about, but I kind of feel like I'm still in that figuring it out stage. Growing up in elementary school and grade school when everyone was in the same class, being friends with our classmates was easy because it's just close proximity, right? I would have friends that are girls and like we would all study together and we would all sit together in class. That was just kind of the norm. But then going into university, I don't know if it's because of internalized misogyny, it probably is what that was. And also being in like a male dominant field and feeling like I had to prove myself all the time, developing female friendships was really hard. It didn't help that my first year, the majority of my class, maybe like 80% of it were guys. And then there was already a clique of girls that to me were a little bit scary. So there weren't many options for female friendships in my class already, and also because I was super busy all the time, I didn't have time to reach out to people outside of my program. But then after I switched programs and my classes in science became more like 50-50, I still kind of felt like it was hard for me to talk to girls because I would be so nervous all of the time. I think part of me felt like, oh, I don't know how to be a girl's girl, if that makes sense. Which sounds really bad. I'm not purposely trying not to be. I just felt like I wasn't good enough. I didn't know how to talk to girls. I felt like talking to guys and like being friends with guys was so much easier because I wasn't super anxious about like, oh, is this friendship gonna last? I wasn't super anxious about like, how's this person gonna see me, because I just had the perception that guys didn't care and that I could say anything I want and then they would just like brush it off or like forget about it, and it's just like silly goofy. So I'm in my third year of university. It's been 2 years since I've been in science, and I've met a lot of really cool people in my class. I've always had this feeling that I wanted to take our friendship outside of class, but I just like really didn't know how. In my mind, I felt that maybe this person only wanted to talk to me during class and didn't find me interesting enough to take this friendship outside of a academic setting. Part of it probably is also not being able to develop social skills because of the pandemic. It was really hard to talk to people, especially because I wanted to come off as friendly and I was always worried about how other people would perceive me, and I wanted people to view me as someone fun to talk to because I loved acapella. I'm still in acapella, and at the beginning I felt like I couldn't relate to these people because the vibe was kind of like high school theater vibes, and I was not in theater or music in high school. I was very much set on the track of becoming an engineer, so I had like none of that high school experience. I really didn't know how to interact with people, and sometimes I felt like I wasn't qualified enough because I'm not nerdy enough in this subject to talk to people. And again, the lack of social skills through the pandemic, I just really didn't know how to keep a conversation going. And you know, when the conversation has these pauses, I would always get so worked up on it, and I'd be so awkward. I would be scrambling to try to say something. I always feel like everything I said wasn't interesting enough to people, and that everybody felt like I was so boring. And I think my body language didn't help either, because I would always be anxious and like too afraid to join group conversations with people that I kind of know but not really, because we're in the same club. In a group setting, I could not speak in a group setting because I always felt like other people had things to say and I couldn't come up with things to say. The only thing I could do was listen, but then it looked like I was standing there. You know, I feel like it was like these kind of thoughts going on in my brain, which made it really hard to interact with people. It all started with this one girl in chemistry class. We don't really talk anymore because we're not in classes anymore, but she's so cute. So I sat beside her in chemistry, and she had blonde curly hair, so it was pretty easy to recognize her. And she would sit in the same spot almost every time, and I would sit in the same spot every time. So we started talking about chemistry, and we kind of became like chemistry class friends. Oh wait, this lighting is so cute. Oh my god. Okay. She would show me her cat, and her cat is actually so cute. Oh my god. Her cat's so cute. The next term, we had class again together by coincidence. We started talking more, and then we started studying together outside of class. And I think that really helped because it was like a bridge from academic friends. Like, even though we were still studying outside of class, it felt more of like we wanted to instead of, oh, we just have class together. There was also this girl that when I was waiting for the bus to go home after an event, I was holding this box, a white box, and she thought it was a cake, so she asked me about it. And I think that day I was just honestly so tired. I was not like thinking at all, and I was just like kind of excited to talk to her about what was in my box. And then we kind of just vibed and we got each other's socials, and now we talk once a week and we talk for hours at a time. It's kind of crazy to me that I'm making friends that feel like genuine oh my god, I'm like tearing up. I feel like genuine friendships, because I think coming into university, it was easy to develop skills to keep up this shallow, like surface level friendship. But it's harder when you actually take that friendship outside of just small talk, or like outside of the club you have in common, or like the class you have in common, and just talk about whatever comes across your mind and your hobbies and stuff for like hours. We've only ever talked like a handful of times. I'm just so grateful. It's hard making meaningful friendships in university. I'm sorry, guys. This is so embarrassing. What I wanted to talk about was how different it is to be friends with guys, and why I thought that was easier, and then now having friendships with girls. When I was making friends with guys, like I felt it was extremely easy to talk to guys, because in my head I had this preconceived notion that they didn't care about what I thought, and like they're kind of just here being, you know, like silly goofy, right? So I could be silly goofy and they don't mind. Especially in labs and stuff, when I'm asking other people in my class how to do something, I felt like it was so much easier to ask a dude, because in my mind I just feel like they're not gonna judge me. And I don't know if that's true, because I'm sure like everyone's really nice, but just this precursor thought in my mind really affects the way I approach friendships. So I feel like friendships with guys, it's really hard to go down to a more like personal level, I guess. The only way that I felt like I was able to make friends with girls was having to stop thinking that everyone's gonna judge me. And I think that came from the first time I made female friends outside of close proximity, and it was with people that we weren't forced to go to class together. I felt like I had to perform all the time to continue being their friends, and that really solidified the toxic thought that girls are gonna judge me all the time, and that made it really hard to make female friendships. Even though I did have really, really nice and like awesome friends from high school, it still scared me from making new friends, because I felt like I was in a different environment now. Like in high school, I went to really academic schools. So like, of course, everyone there was going to be more academic orientated, and they were less like the gossipy type, you know, whatever like stereotype that catty women have. Coming into university, because I didn't really know what was going on and I entered like a male dominant field, I feel like they look down on women. That feeling internalized in me. I don't know if I looked down on women, but I definitely looked up to men. It was so hard to make friends with girls because I always thought that they were judging me, and I never felt like I was cool enough. That is such a sad thing to say, because the other day, this girl from Acapella, she said that I was written by a woman. It's literally the highest form of compliment that I've ever received. And I was like, do people think I'm cool? This is life-changing. The weather's really nice outside. I think the lighting's really cute too. Sorry, I keep looking outside my window because the sky is blue and that makes me really happy. And the autumn leaves are yellow and changing color. It's very pretty. I find making new friendships really hard because I always have this anxious thought that what if they think I'm like a loser and I'm just like trying to be someone's friend but they don't want to be my friend, but they're just like responding to me because they're nice. And I always have that thought, and that's kind of the thought I have with this other person right now, which I really hope gets out of this whole texting friendship, because I'm really bad at texting. I'd really rather hang out with someone in person, one-on-one, because it makes it easier for me to catch how the vibe's going. I do still kind of struggle in group setting friendships because it's hard for me to talk because I feel like everybody's listening to me. And then also, like, what if I'm interrupting someone? Or like, what if I say the wrong thing? Like, I really can't gauge that when there's more than one person. I feel like in female friendships I can be so much more emotionally vulnerable to make these deep connections and talk about things that I am truly interested in and makes me excited, and stuff about life without having to joke about it all the time, which I still do. It just feels nice, like I have something to actually connect to, and I'm not putting on this character of always being fine and like always being silly goofy and that everything's fine. The way I want to say that female friendships are life-changing, because I've never felt so grateful to have people to be able to talk to about my hobbies, and them being genuinely excited about it and me being genuinely excited about their hobbies and what's going on in their life. It's just so heartwarming. Friends, guys, friendships are hard. I don't know. I feel like this video is a mess. I'll try to edit it as best I can. This lighting is really cute. I do also want to go on a walk. Keep y'all updated.